day. This would go a long way toward erasing the disappointment of the last 2 seasons. Alonzo Mourning controls the opening tap, and Miami has the first possession. Almost a steal by Charlie Ward.
Kickball they're calling.
Kickball will give it back to Miami.
Charlie Ward said, "You don't know how fast my hands are."
We'll see it again. Charlie Ward, the hero a week ago of the Knicks victory. One of the unexpected heroes in this series.
Now they've been doubling Alonzo Mourning, so let's see if they double and how quickly he either gets going or gets a shot. Mourning.
Baseline right around Ewing. Johnson came to help, but was of no help as the bigger Mourning put it in with an impressive drive to open the game.
Patrick Ewing has to use his help. If a double team comes from one side, you can't let the guy go the other way. You have to turn him into the help. Beautiful back cut.
Latrell Sprewell gets Ewing, who puts it in, and Larry Johnson initiated the whole sequence. Inside of Mourning again, got a pretty good shove from Ewing. Double team from Houston, missed the jumper. And Larry Johnson hauls it down.
Even though Pat Riley said it's not on one guy, I think Mourning senses that he's got to set the tone at the offensive end for his team early.
Plus, being 7 or 8 years younger, Johnson strokes the long jumper. Mourning being so much younger than Patrick Ewing, he figures he can wear him down with the short turnaround between game 6 and 7.
Mashburn against Sprewell. Puts it up and no good. And Ewing clears for the Knicks. Charlie Ward pulls up. That's a long 2. Back rim. Ward got his own.
Tim Hardaway still played with that very sore ankle. Just can't move quick enough to get to those long rebounds.
Hardaway playing with a sprained left foot that has hampered him throughout the series.
He says he hasn't gotten any worse, and he has not taken any shots in that foot during the course of this series.
Ewing attacking. 2 to shoot. Sprewell got it away and hit.
New York off to the razor-sharp start here, taking the crowd out, putting them back in their seats. Oh, Ewing.
Mourning once again blows by Patrick Ewing.
Well, Van Gundy said Patrick can't do it by himself. And in this series, with a team that likes to play straight-up man-to-man defense, they have to help him. If they don't, you get those results.
Yeah, but how about giving up an outside shot as opposed to giving up a dunk?
We might see a lot of Marcus Camby today, and this has not been a good series for Marcus. Larry Johnson penetrates. Charlie Ward for 3. Alonzo Mourning beat Ewing to the ball. Hardaway pull up.
Now, this is a guy that Van Gundy fears more than Alonzo Mourning. Tim Hardaway, because of his ability to play well in a big occasion, a big bucket for him early, which he hasn't gotten in any of the series.
First opportunity for Allen Houston, 3 minutes into the game, too late.
Missed the baseline shot. Marley's been all over him defending in this series. Hardaway got a step and scored over Charlie Ward. Back-to-back buckets by Hardaway put Miami back in front.
Charlie Ward takes 2 long jumpers already. Allen Houston struggling to even touch the ball. As soon as he gets it, he feels he almost has to shoot. You have to come to Sprewell and Houston throughout.
Sprewell guarded by Mashburn.
But, you know, it's a 2-point ball game, and there are going to be big swings on the scoreboard. And it's a team, again, that plays through their stars that's going to win this game this afternoon.
Beautiful pass, Hardaway.
Brown missed the shot, put in by Alonzo Mourning. Mourning looking tough early with a half-dozen points and hitting the boards too. And a timeout taken by the Knicks. Timeout New York as Miami is on an 8-0 run to lead 10-6. Miami leads 10-6 over the Knicks. They've scored 8 in a row.
Well, the quickness of Alonzo Mourning on display early, and Patrick Ewing looks as though he's nailed to the ground, and Tim Hardaway You know, the last time you saw him against the New York Knicks in a big game, he had those shoulders and head popping. He had that happy feeling, and he's got it going early.
And the long jumper in transition sets up the stutter step, allows him to beat Charlie Ward, playing with a bad leg himself, Ward, and can't keep Hardaway in front of him.
Ewing picked up by Brown on the switch.
Bad footwork.
And was bailed out by a foul, and it looked like he traveled.
Pat Riley is up off the bench screaming for a traveling violation. How can this be? As Ewing gets the ball out of the fine execution in the set off and stumbles with his footwork, has no balance whatsoever. The referees indeed bail him out, put him at the line.
First foul of the game is on P.J. Brown of Miami as Ewing misses the free throw. 15 points. And finally, for someone hitting the boards for New York in Game 6, the only game in which they've won the rebounding battle, which has been a real primary concern for Jeff Van Gundy.
Van Gundy admitting to us that Ewing cannot guard Alonzo Mourning. If Ewing can at least move his feet a little bit and concede some perimeter shots, the Knicks will be much, much better off. Nice pass again.
The quicker you move the ball, the easier it is to get the shot. Mourning had to come from the outside against the clock.
Beautiful pass.
Ward reverses it through from Houston.
Last time the Knicks were here for Game 5, they got off to a perfect start. Outstanding execution, a big early 10-point lead. They couldn't hold it, ended up losing the game convincingly.
One thing you can count on in this series, or anytime these two teams play, though, there's going to be a drought on both ends of the court. Just count on it coming at some time.
Both spend a lot of time swinging the ball out on the perimeter. When they get that penetrating pass or cut, that's when they're most effective, and that's when the score is the easiest. Mismatch pretty well, and Hardaway.
Mourning comes to double. The ball comes to Larry Johnson, who airballs a three.
P.J. Brown, terrific rotation defensively. No solid look for Larry Johnson.
Marley down to Mourning, who was right under the basket, and even though Ewing gave him a pretty good bump, when he catches it there, forget about it.
Your question at the outset, Tom, how much does Patrick Ewing have in it? This might be a good time to give him a little bit of a blow. Let Camby get into the rhythm of the game and bring Ewing back in just a couple of minutes. Maybe he'll find something better than what he's got now.
Dan Marley, the blocking foul on Allen Houston. Alonzo Mourning off to a hot start for the Miami Heat. So opens the game by hitting 4 of his first 6 shots, and Miami has the lead 12-9. Miami with a 3-point lead. Of course, Game 7 is a situation Pat Riley relishes. We asked him about his approach to this game, and Pat, how will you get your team ready?
You punch your fist as hard as you can. You put your hard, okay? And they've been here before, and they know what this is all about. We haven't been able to win these last 2 years in the ultimate game, and you know. So I mean, today's the day they have to break through. They really do.
Tom, you've already termed this a watershed day for the Miami Heat franchise. Alonzo Mourning and Tim Hardaway have responded to Pat Riley's pleas for preparation, pleas for staying within the team system. They've got all the points. They've set the pace early. Now the Knicks defense will have to adjust. That'll free up the role players. Stagnation for New York.
Patrick Ewing. Marley hauls it down for Miami and gives it up to Hardaway. Actually, Hardaway and Zoe not only have scored all the points, they've taken all but 1 shot. Mashburn had 1. He's the only other Heat to have attempted.
Well, after P.J. Brown's donut in Game 6, why would you go to him?
Mashburn missing on the turnaround jumper. He's 0 for 2.
P.J. Brown's job is to live off of what the other guys do. He's the open jump shot guy, the cleanup guy, and once they get going, life becomes very easy for him. Pretty well.
And that's the way to get to the basket and eventually the foul line. That'll allow the Knicks to control some of this tempo, which after the opening minute or so has all been Miami.
So Latrell Sprewell will head to the New York free throw line. Foul is on Jamal Mashburn, his first. Log on to MSNBCSports.com and click on Showtime Online for in-depth playoff coverage. Check in daily as Bill Walton previews every playoff game. Isaiah breaks down the conference finals. Steve Jones sizes up the Lakers' title chances. And Matt Gukas looks at the future of the Heat. All at MSNBCSports.com, the official website of NBC Sports. Pat Riley will have a decision to make about the future of this franchise should they lose today.
The Knicks are in the same boat. The Knicks don't win this game. I can see massive roster restructuring as Alonzo Mourning tries to force it.
Back out to Hardaway. He puts it in. Worked his way right to the rim as they attack after the double team of Mourning.
Jeff Van Gundy told us yesterday we have to be aggressive in attacking Tim Hardaway, and he's had Charlie Ward on his heels. They've got to stay with Hardaway because now he's in the ballgame.
Where's Chris Giles to play some better defense than Charlie Ward's been thrown?
Ward misses a three, and on the floor, picked up by Mourning.
Great screen by Mashburn.
And a nice pass, Marley to Mourning, who took the hit and put it in. And Miami leads by 5. New York has not committed a personal foul yet.
Well, they haven't been called for one.
Well,
You're right.
You know, Mourning shakes his head. He thought he got hit on the play, but he is really playing with the kind of intensity they expected to see the entire game. Nice hoop, Larry Johnson.
LJ getting a Houston-esque roll on that shot, his 4th point of this first quarter.
Trying to get a pick and roll going, and that's one thing that we haven't seen a lot of. Hardaway across the middle.
Floater no good. Here's Sprewell attacking Marley. Wild shot, batted out of bounds by Larry Johnson.
The offensive creativity of Latrell Sprewell. You're playing against one of the great defensive players of all time in Dan Marley. You just get him crossing his legs, almost falling down. But still, Marley able to force him to take a difficult enough shot that it just rimmed out.
Mourning again attacking, driving baseline in the first foul of the game. And whistled against Patrick Ewing. First foul of the game against New York, that is.
All of the fans here finally say thank you, but it is the quickness of Alonzo Mourning that's on display. You can see almost his entire body past Patrick Ewing. They are going to have to get some help with Patrick Ewing, and they're going to have pressure on the ball to make Zoe work harder.
But Ewing's allowing him to receive the ball way too close to the basket. Into the front that time.
With 3 to shoot, Hardaway. Mourning follows, no good. Got it again. Up and in. Alonzo Mourning, determined offensive board work.
Sad moments here in the first quarter for Patrick Ewing, who needs to play a lot better in every aspect.
Alonzo Mourning with 12 points and 5 rebounds. And Ewing fouled by Brown.
But the reality is you cannot expect Patrick Ewing to match what we have seen from Alonzo Mourning. Mourning is younger, he has more energy, and he's more active. So what Patrick Ewing has got to do is pick his spot. He's got to find a way to get his body between Mourning and the hoop and make sure that he can get some fouls over the top and work his way into this game.
Alonzo Mourning's playing within a 10-foot radius of the basket. You have to be able to move your feet. You can't stand there and lean and lunge as Patrick Ewing is doing. Now, granted, his body doesn't work anymore.
Way off on that free throw, and you can tell that Ewing is struggling as P.J. Brown, who just picked up his 2nd foul, goes to the bench, replaced by Clarence Weatherspoon.
Mourning just toweled off, and that tells you just how lathered up and into this ball game he is.
If you're not sweating on a day like this in South Florida in the middle of May in the 7th game, there's something wrong with you.
Ewing on target with a 2nd free throw. He has 4 points. A 4-point Miami lead.
Charlie Ward unable to get up here and put pressure on Tim Hardaway. Hardaway able to get wherever he wants.
Mashburn's been quiet so far. Double team came to make him give the ball up, and Weatherspoon misses his first shot. Charlie Ward out rebounding Alonzo Mourning, but he fell out of bounds after Mourning gave him a pretty good shove.
A moment ago, as P.J. Brown went to the bench, Dan Van Gundy, assistant coach to Pat Riley, really trying to get P.J. back into this game. Disastrous Game 6 for P.J. Brown, 0 points and only 5 rebounds in 25 minutes, and he fouled out.
Well, you know, when he gets in early foul trouble, that's when they really start their morning. Just knocking people down out there.
Hardaway misses the three after the first turnover of the game when Ward went out of bounds.
Alonzo Mourning just telling these little guys to get out from underneath him. Game for champions here, big guys. Larry
Johnson, tough shot, rimmed up. Marley got the rebound.
Alonzo Mourning's got to step on Ewing in transition.
Weatherspoon cut off by Ewing, feeds it back outside. Marley for three.
The look of pain and exasperation on Jeff Van Gundy's face. They're going to have to call a timeout and talk this over. Their offense is struggling. They can't play transition defense, and Mourning is killing them.
Marley, the first bucket by someone other than Alonzo Mourning or Tim Hardaway. It's a three. 21-14 Miami. The NBA on NBC.
The ability to control the terms of the conflict has all gone Alonzo Mourning's way, as Patrick Ewing, who was terrific in Game 6, has been flat today, with Alonzo Mourning driving by a statuesque Patrick Ewing time and time again. Running hooks, slam dunks, transition post-up, throw it down, get back. Alonzo Mourning has absolutely established himself in the early going here and created this 7-point lead. Marcus Camby has had to come in replacement for Patrick Ewing, who limps slowly to the bench.
Well, let's remember this. The team that wins the first quarter doesn't always win the game.
That's exactly right. You almost don't want to be ahead early in the game.
Well, I said that before you guys scoffed at me.
Charlie Ward misses the three. Long rebound. Ward saves to Larry Johnson. Hustling play that we've come to expect from Charlie Ward.
Charlie Ward has made some tremendous hustle plays, but the guy that they got to bring into this game, bad ankle and all, is Allen Houston. He's only had one look here early in the ball game. The first quarter is just about over, and he needs to try to find some sort of offensive confidence.
Great back cut there, but he just can't handle that ball. Doesn't seem to have his legs underneath him at all. But you can't wait when you're as good as Allen Houston is for the game to come your way. You've got to go take it.
New York is only 5 of 15 shooting, below 35%. Marley to Weatherspoon on the lob for the jam.
What has happened to the Knicks front line? First Ewing gets dumped on with regularity. Now Marcus Camby gets back cut.
Well, they've got to get up and smother the passer. You don't get a lob pass like that unless you are got a chance to spot it.
Hardaway swipes it from Houston. Here's Weatherspoon again. Rejected by Camby. Mourning on the low post. Pushed out a little bit out of his range, actually, by Larry Johnson. Sprewell doubles. Mashburn back to Mourning.
The passing for Miami is exquisite. They're penetrating, they're making New York deny that penetration with rotation, and that's leaving wide open spot-up shooters. Those jumpers are going down.
Mourning has hit 7 of his first 10 shots. 40 seconds left, opening quarter. Game 7. Sprewell. Pull-up shot is good. Latrell Sprewell. 25-16. In Game 6, Miami scored only 25 in the entire second half. They scored 25 here in the opening quarter.
Well, remember, Jeff Van Gundy said the first half of the Game 6 was the worst basketball they played all year, trying to duplicate it.
Marley for three. Larry Johnson the rebound, 10 seconds left in the quarter.
It's the best I've ever seen Alonzo Mourning play. In every aspect of the game, including his mental control.
Charlie Ward misses the circus shot with Mourning lurking nearby as the first quarter comes to an end. Tremendous first quarter by Alonzo Mourning. 14 points, almost outscoring the entire Knicks team. And at the end of one, Miami enjoying a 25-16 advantage. You're watching Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals on NBC. These two teams met once before in a Game 7. 3 years ago, Tim Hardaway, the catalyst for the Heat, as he scored 38 points, also had 7 assists and 5 steals. Miami jumped out to a big early lead, won by 11 to take the series. Only the 6th team in NBA history to overcome a 3-1 deficit. And is this an omen? After the first quarter in that game, it was 25-14. At the end of the first quarter in this Game 7, it's 25-16 Miami.
Well, you know, Tim Hardaway has the ultimate respect from Jeff Van Gundy. He feels that this guy has the ability to play through a lot of pain and agony, to find a way to make something out of nothing, and always make the big play on a big occasion.
The amazing thing about Tim Hardaway was, remember, it was his big shot that got them the home court advantage at the end of the regular season with that overtime desperation fling from 3. But then Hardaway's played throughout the series and hasn't re-injured or aggravated that foot. Larry Johnson through his legs.
And baseline right by Weatherspoon to put it through. Larry Johnson has 6 points. As the Knicks open the second quarter with the first bucket. Chris Childs, along with Marcus Camby, Latrell Sprewell, Larry Johnson, and Kurt Thomas for New York.
Whenever Pat Riley's gone to his bench, that's when the momentum has changed, and they've not gotten Mashburn in the game.
Kurt Thomas teed up by Dick Bavetta after he shoved Alonzo Mourning. It's a technical and a personal against Kurt Thomas. As Jeff Van Gundy says, he is our physical player, and sometimes when we light his fuse, that little extra push there got him a tee.
No need for that. Kurt Thomas is too good a player, too skilled a player. He started his career, Tim Thomas did, right here for the Miami Heat, and earned a reputation at the very beginning as Marley clangs the free throw. Kurt Thomas is a guy who can defend bigger guys, and that's why he's always been admired and respected wherever he's been.
Well, also, you have to play with some control. And for him, that is really his Waterloo. In an emotional game like this, he does not contain himself.
He's the Rasheed Wallace of the Eastern Conference. Jamal Mashburn missing the 3. Weatherspoon way up for the rebound. Kicks it back to Mashburn. This one is short after the first one was long, and Mashburn continues to struggle.
Well, with Mashburn and Allen Houston both having subpar offensive games, someone's going to have to come alive for their respective teams.
Now, the only way that you get going as an offensive player, you got to keep shooting. It can't be sporadic for Mashburn. He can't be passive or tentative. He's got to continue to put the ball in the air.
Anthony Carter has replaced Tim Hardaway for Miami. Defending on that one, Kurt Thomas and Marcus Camby battling 4 Heat players for the rebound. And it's lost out of bounds.
Now the effort is there for Marcus Camby, but you can never mistake activity for achievement. He's got a couple of blocks. He's got a couple of rebounds. They need a lot more from this budding star who's been a bust since the opening 2 games of this series.
Mashburn passed up the 3-pointer that time and threw it away right to Kurt Thomas.
Thomas did a great job of reacting off Alonzo Mourning and make that save.
First Miami turnover of the game.
Nice pass, Kurt Thomas.
And a foul inside on Miami. Clarence Weatherspoon picking up number 1 as Bruce Bowen and P.J. Brown will return for Miami.
Bowen is not a guy that's expected to make shots, but he stepped up and made some big ones in this series. He then defensively, Mashburn will get his first breather. Maybe this little break will get Mashburn calmed down.
Bruce Bowen is a guy that plays so much better at home, as most role players do. At home, he shoots 46%. On the road, he shoots 25% on overall shots from the field, Bruce Bowen.
And Bowen quickly picks up a personal foul, known as a tough defender, although he had a clutch 3 up at Madison Square Garden.
The guys that are going to have to do it for the Knicks, Sprewell, Larry Johnson, they're going to have to score. They squeeze it off inside, but they say travel.
Larry Johnson called for steps to turn it over to Miami.
One of the shortest front lines in the NBA. The beautiful back cut. Larry Johnson's inability to catch that ball the first time, put it in a position where he had to shuffle his feet to try to use his quickness, which is not the strength of his game.
Anthony Carter, P.J. Brown, Alonzo Mourning, Bruce Bowen, and Clarence Weatherspoon, and P.J. Brown with his first bucket of the game.
What an absolute relief for Pat Riley that somebody would make a jump shot other than Alonzo Mourning and Tim Hardaway.
You know, it's a 9-point game for the New York Knicks, and they have to take heart in the fact that they've been down before and they can come back. Sprewell staying in that medium range area is going to be a big problem to control for the Miami Heat.
Sprewell's hit 3 of 5. That characteristic fall-away jump shot.
I think Riley should leave Alonzo Mourning in for 48 minutes today.
Boeing misses the 3, and Camby the rebound. And the beginnings of one of those Miami droughts starting to creep in.
They've gone away from Mourning.
And New York will take a timeout.
They got somebody down. They got Latrell Sprewell down in this corner, and that is not a good sign for New York.
Sprewell was actually hidden by the crowd. Helped to his feet and making his way to the New York bench. Miami by 7.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Killian's Irish Red, which reminds you one look says a lot. By Toyota, making it happen every day. By the Home Depot, America's home improvement coach. And by Adidas. Long live sports.
Back in Miami game 7, Latrell Sprewell shaken up just before that timeout. Here's what happened. Bruce Bowen attempting the 3. Sprewell lunges at him. They get their legs tangled up, and Sprewell goes flying into the photographers. Almost went face down. Here it is again. Sprewell lunges, tangles up with Bowen, and goes head first into the photographer's row. And holding his ear as he makes his way back out. Jim Gray, what's an update on his condition?
Well, Sprewell came over to the bench, told Mike Saunders, the Knicks trainer, that he banged the right side of his head and his ear on a camera. He was just a little bit shaken up. He's back in the game, and we'll continue. Tom?
Here's a steal. Bowen is fouled by Camby after the good pass from Anthony Carter.
Van Gundy cannot believe it. You call a timeout to rescue your main offensive weapon. You set up an out-of-bounds play, and then you turn it over. You can't even, your guy didn't even touch the ball, and then the Heat race up and get fouled on a fast break opportunity. How can that be?
And don't forget Memorial Day weekend. It's conference final time, and NBC will have 4 big games. Special tip-off Friday night in prime time. Shaq, Kobe, and the Lakers continue their quest for a championship, facing Scottie Pippen and the Trailblazers. It's game 3 of the Western Conference Finals Friday night, 9 Eastern in prime time. It's going to get wild Memorial Day weekend, NBA playoff time, as Kurt Thomas knocks one through.
That's a backhanded tip, but a big play, and it all started with some quick penetration. I think the Knicks have got to understand, the quicker they move the ball and the personnel, the easier it is they're going to get a score, and they can get back in the game only down 7.
This is the kind of game that Chris Giles can come in and have a huge impact for Jeff Van Gundy.
Carter to Weatherspoon. Good position on the rebound for Larry Johnson. Here is Childs. Otis Thorpe on the floor for Miami, replacing Alonzo Mourning. Mourning's first break.
Sprewell, explosive flash to the ball. Keep Mourning in the hole there.
And one for Latrell Sprewell.
That never would have happened if the league's leading shot blocker had been out there instead of sitting on the bench.
Well, at some point, you know, you have to give Mourning a little bit of a breather. He's also a guy that gets clustered fouls. He'll get 1, 2, 3. He'll take himself out of the game. So try to get by while you've got the lead. Good quick move by Sprewell.
They don't take Shaq out. They didn't take Michael Jordan out. They didn't take Larry Bird out. Why are they taking Alonzo Mourning out?
They take them all out. They just don't take them out for a long, extended period of time.
Sprewell with a 3-point play has 11 in the game. And is getting the Knicks right back in it. That was the second foul on Bruce Bowen.
Mismatch for P.J. Brown, but they squeeze that off.
Carter. Anthony Carter bricks a shot. Yes, we're in the drought.
Pray for rain. Where's the twitch?
Allen Houston with his first bucket of the game. And New York has closed within 2.
But now they have to have a go-to guy, and they got Hardaway and Mourning on the bench at the same time. Where's Mashburn?
But Pat Riley said, you know, we got to do it as a team, so these guys have got to deliver something. Carter trying to beat him with penetration.
Wild, erratic, flailing.
Here's Sprewell. Pulls up and scores to tie the game at 29. Everybody that's surprised raised their hand.
Pat Riley says timeout. I've seen enough of this. But he has only himself to blame. He takes his 3 guys out. They lose their whole lead.
New York in the midst of a 9-0 run. Allen Houston, if he can get on track, that would be good news for New York fans.
Anthony Carter just throws one away. The heady play by Kurt Thomas to keep it alive, and Sprewell hot as can be. 9-0 run for New York.
And we're tied at 29. Tied at 29. Latrell Sprewell has not missed in this second quarter.
Remember Latrell Sprewell in Game 5 against the San Antonio Spurs when he just put the Knicks on his back and said, guys, I'm going to keep us in this game. I'm not going to let us get too far away. That's what he's done here in the second quarter of play. And he is energetic. He's all over the place. The energy that we saw Alonzo Mourning display in the first period has now shifted over in the hands of Latrell Sprewell. Tie ball game.
Sprewell 3 for 3, 7 points in the quarter. And Miami only 1 field goal in the first 5 minutes of this second quarter. Jamal Mashburn has come back in. When Alonzo Mourning left the game 2 minutes ago, the Heat led by 7, and New York goes on a 9-2 run with him out of the game.
Oh, so they're going to run their offense to Otis Thorpe?
Missed the reverse, but he was fouled.
Otis Thorpe is a terrific player, but after all these years, he plays so rarely now for Pat Riley. Jamal Mashburn's the guy that needs to be handling this ball. The outstanding drop step, quite arguably a traveling violation, non-called.
Otis Thorpe in his 16th season from Providence at the line as Zoe gets ready to come back in. Thorpe hits the first free throw. Mourning returns, replacing Brown.
Well, this is going to be an interesting lineup. Thorpe and Mourning in at the same time, and really not a true power forward for them because Mourning wants the hole, and Otis Thorpe is not a guy that plays well out on the perimeter, nor does he pass very well from out there.
I completely disagree with everything you just said.
Oh, what a surprise.
Otis Thorpe, truly a special power forward. Can handle it, can stroke it, just doesn't get the opportunities here.
Here's Sprewell's had the hot hand. Mashburn back into defending.
He's got to go quickly. Mourning back in the game, and he knows he's not going to get all the way to the rim as he's been doing.
6th rebound for Alonzo.
No second chance opportunities for the Knicks. Something that they fed off, feasted really in Game 6.
Carter penetrates, nowhere to go. Mashburn spotted. Missed it off the glass. Thomas hauls it down. Mashburn's 0 for 5.
Mashburn has been taking some real tough shots. He can get better shots than that, particularly when he's being defended by Allen Houston.
We're seeing hesitation by Jamal Mashburn.
Sprewell for 3. Latrell Sprewell with 16 points, and New York is up 1.
What is Miami thinking? Will double team Kurt Thomas or Marcus Camby, Chris Childs, and leave Latrell Sprewell open? He's hot, by the way.
10 in the quarter. Mourning, triple team. Marley. Rebounded by Thorpe.
Now that's the guy you said couldn't get it done. He just comes in and grabs, snatches, and a rebound and throws down a dunk. What is that?
That's what he does best. He still can't pass.
Why pass when you can dunk? It's the Shaq philosophy.
Knicks go right back to Sprewell. Missed the baseline and slapped in by Kurt Thomas.
Well, it's better to be lucky than good, and we have seen 2 lucky slaps at the ball by Kurt Thomas that ended up in hoops. Mourning slow to get up, but on his feet.
One problem here for Alonzo Mourning and the Miami Heat. He's lost his rhythm. He's lost his momentum. They've got to get him back in the game where he was so dominant in the first quarter. Nothing since.
Mourning is being fronted by Thomas. Couldn't lob it to him because Camby was lurking with backside help. Carter penetrates and gets a nice little runner. Anthony Carter getting a Miami bucket. That's his first field goal.
Now, Carter can get by Chris Childs because Childs is trying to lay and help on Alonzo Mourning.
A lot of dribbling.
All by Chris Childs, who now puts up the shot. And it was a bad-looking shot. Marley with the outlet to Carter. He has Mashburn.
Nice.
Blocked by Sprewell. And then put back in by Carter. Or was it? No, it was Mashburn. Got it back. Mashburn got the bucket.
What a defensive play. That was. Charles Sprewell looked like an easy layup. Should have been a dunk. Sprewell from nowhere.
Well, that is the energy that Mourning had, and Sprewell has gotten it back, and he is relentless attacking.
Nice ball fake. Got Mashburn off the floor and put in his 18th point. What a quarter Latrell Sprewell is having in this second quarter. He has a dozen points.
Yeah, 12 in the quarter, and you know he's a streaky player, and he's on one of those big offensive rolls.
Beautiful. You got 4 guys handling the ball. Bang, 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 swing it around, slam dunk.
And Carter put it right where Alonzo needed it. He was going to the basket. He had the inside spot, and the pass was right there carrying him to the hoop.
And how much better is that with the isolation play? So they just give it to one guy who takes 30 dribbles while everybody else is standing over there having a glass of water.
Illegal defense call against Miami, the first. Tim Hardaway replaces Carter, and Patrick Ewing returns for New York.
Tom, we have a man with many hats sitting in between us. He's playing, he's coaching, he's analyzing, he's doing everything in this big ball game, and it tells us that he's ready to play. Houston.
Out of Houston, tough shot and a pretty one. Allen's second field goal.
Marley has done a terrific job throughout this series. I mean, as great as Allen Houston is, hasn't been able to have the dominating performance that everyone expected.
And Ronnie said, I'll go to my grave with Dan Marley. That's the kind of effort he gives you.
There's got to be more fun places to go than that.
How about Game 7 here in Miami? 2:59 till halftime. 1-point game.
Hi, everyone. Hannah Storm in Secaucus, New Jersey at the NBA studio. Coming up on Net Zero at the half, we'll bring you live coverage of the NBA Draft Lottery. The LA Clippers, Chicago Bulls, and Orlando Magic have the best mathematical chances of securing the #1 pick in this year's draft. We'll bring you the NBA Draft Lottery in just a few minutes, but let's return to Miami now and rejoin Tom, Bill, Snapper, and Jim.
All right, Hannah, thank you very much. 39-38 here. And, you know, back in 1985, the New York Knicks were participants in the first ever NBA Draft Lottery, the grand prize of which was the right to select a 7-foot center from Georgetown by the name of Patrick Ewing. The first pick came down to either the Knicks or the Indiana Pacers, as then Knicks GM Dave DeBusschere waited for the announcement.
In the 1985 NBA Draft goes to the Indiana. The New York Knicks, for their first pick, select Patrick Ewing.
Ewing, of course, went on to be Rookie of the Year, the first Knick to be so honored since Willis Reed.
But it never really came together for Patrick Ewing until one Patrick Riley came over and made the Knicks what they have become over the last decade. And that confluence, that harmonic convergence of Ewing, Riley, and then all the other role players they brought in.
Jamal Mashburn still can't hit, and a loose ball foul on Otis Thorpe of Miami. Mashburn now 1 of 8. On the other end of the scale, Alonzo Mourning is at 8 of 11.
Consistency, psychological reaction to pressure. What makes these games so interesting, so unpredictable. Mashburn was terrific in the early going of this series.
Here's the illegal defense call. Alonzo Mourning pleading his case, but is deemed illegal, and that'll be a technical foul.
Anytime you want to worry about illegal, just look and see whether his man is up high. There he is, and he's back here, so you can see it's easy for the official to make that call. And Allen Houston on the second illegal defense will go to the free throw line.
Mourning not above the free throw line, and illegal defense called the second against Miami. Let's see if they go again to Sprewell, who has scored 12 points in the last 6 minutes. And we're tied at 39.
Momentum is all on the side of the Knicks right now. The Heat have not recovered since they took their stars Hardaway, Mourning, and Mashburn out in mass. Sprewell, great recovery.
Slipped, got right back up. Can't score, though. Followed by Camby. Here's the second one, blocked by Mourning. Blocked again by Alonzo. And saved Houston for 3. Still no good. Offensive rebound. Sprewell calls timeout. What a sequence.
Well, he better call timeout because the big SWAT machine was standing right next to him, and he realized he was not going to be able to get a shot away as the middle was totally closed down by Alonzo Mourning.
The attack at the hoop for New York denied time and time again by the Defensive Player of the Year, Alonzo Mourning.
Timeout. We're back to Miami in a moment. Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals, the NBA playoffs 2000. The Miami Heat and the New York Knicks still tied at 39. These two teams that are such great rivals, they know each other so well, so many common bonds, including Pat Riley, the former Knicks coach, and his former assistant, Jeff Van Gundy.
Offensive rebounds here. New York, the worst in the league in the regular season, have got a slight edge today, but they haven't been able to capitalize. They got 5 offensive rebounds on that last sequence where Alonzo Mourning was turning them away.
Tim Hardaway with a foul. That's number 1 on Tim.
Penalty situation for a very active Latrell Sprewell, who's being aggressive, trying to get his hands on the ball and make something happen. Huge game in the second quarter. And if you talked about struggling on the road, not happening this afternoon.
Tomorrow night on TNT, you can see Game 2 between the Trailblazers and the Lakers. Coverage gets underway at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's tomorrow night on TNT.
But how things have turned for Latrell Sprewell, who just a couple years ago was lost in so many areas. His basketball life, his personal life, turned it all around. Now one of the premier players and stars on the marquee team, the New York Knicks.
20 points in the game, 14 in the quarter for Sprewell. Mourning fumbles it, recovers.
You know, he's not had to get in that position the entire game against the clock. Tim Hardaway gets a foul.
With 3 on the shot clock, Chris Childs commits the foul.
A lot of hesitation for the Miami Heat. Alonzo Mourning unable to stab the ball the first time. It's a hack from behind by Chris Childs. Reset at 14 of the shot clock for Miami.
First foul the last 2 minutes against the Knicks.
Well, Miami started smooth and free, and since that time it tightened up. And that's what, along with the aggressive play of Sprewell, has led the Knicks back into the ball game and given them a 2-point advantage. Sprewell
and Kurt Thomas are the only Knicks playing well, and they've got a 2-point lead on the road in Game 7. Go figure.
Childs with the entry to Sprewell. Matched up with a mismatch against Hardaway. Mourning came to help, which left Ewing open, and he's fouled.
And this is what they've got to get from Patrick Ewing. Selective opportunities for him, since he's not going to be the featured player at the offensive end. A dive to the hoop. He gets fouled at the free throw line. Ewing.
A far cry from the 18 rebounds that he had in Game 6. But it was those rebounds that got them to Game 7. Now the rest of his team, they've got to come and provide some support.
Well, he said he guaranteed a ring for his Knicks and said he was still the best center in the East, not Alonzo Mourning.
Was that last year or this year?
That was this year, and in Game 6.
Or the year before. or all of the above.
Meanwhile, Mourning has gotten up just 1 shot in this quarter.
Well, and now they triple team him. See, they're not moving and cutting like they were. They're standing out on the perimeter. That's what's going to get the Heat in trouble. 4 on the clock for Tim Hardaway.
Great
up and under, missed it. Mourning, battling, saved. Look at the Knicks go after it. Childs is fouled by Mourning. Mourning called for tripping Chris Childs.
Tough call. He's laying on the ground, and the guy is trying to dive over him.
Well, it might have fouled right there as he's holding the tackle, and now he's going to go underneath, but he won't let him get to the ball.
That is not a foul. He's laying face down on his stomach. The other guy is pummeling him on his back with his knees.
Can I step over
and they
please?
Call the foul on the guy who's on the bottom? How can that be? What is going on here?
You know, this crowd came in here fired up and taking a lot of energy away from them as they try to focus in on Chris Childs at the line.
Knicks have played a lot better with Chris Childs in this second quarter.
And Alonzo Mourning, who played with such great energy, getting only the one shot as the New York defense sags on him, and Jamal Mashburn struggling to score.
Well, this is a disastrous closing couple of minutes here for New York as for Miami, as Childs makes both. They had everything going. Alonzo Mourning was dominating, and now it's nothing happening for the Heat.
New York's on a 9-0 run, and it's carried them to their biggest lead. They're up by 6.
The Heat need to, remember who they are and get back to playing that game. They just need a hoop here before they go to a break. 7 on the clock.
Hardaway fakes the 3, steps up, goes glass, no good. And a loose ball foul.
Chris Childs pushing Otis Thorpe out of the way. Everybody sort of froze when the shot clock buzzer went off. But that's the second 9-0 run that the Knicks have gone on in the last 15 minutes of this game. Van Gundy finally a little bit of a smile.
With 20 seconds left till halftime, Otis Thorpe returns to the Miami free throw line where he hit a couple a moment ago. And the New York Knicks in game 6, we're looking at a 15-point deficit. It's going to be completely different here in game 7. They're going to go to the locker room in front.
The free throw line woes in game 2 for Miami right here in this arena. That really cost them a chance to go up 2-0. They missed a ton of free throws, particularly in the first half, as the Knicks cruised to an easy victory in that game.
Well, we talk about all these leagues. The only one that really counts is the one at the end of the ball game, and that's what the Miami Heat have to remember. You can be down in this series. We have seen teams do that, but if you can be ahead at the end, that's all that counts, and that's what Pat Riley's got to sell when they go into the locker room.
Riley says once and for all, and after Otis Thorpe misses 2 free throws, Allen Houston misses the shot, taps no good, as Thorpe flings it the length of the court to bring the first half to a close. New York ending the first half with a 25-10 run over the last 9 minutes, keyed by Latrell Sprewell. And Jim Gray is with Latrell. Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Tom. 20 points, Latrell. Can you continue to carry this offense in the second half?
Hopefully, they're double, and when they do, I have to get the ball to the weak side, and hopefully, our players on the weak side will make something happen. But I'm going to keep attacking, keep being aggressive, and see how they play me.
Any ideas defensively on how you can stop Alonzo Mourning? When he was in the game, he was very dominant.
Well, we're double teaming him. He's making good plays, and they got some good open looks on the weak side. Fortunately for us, they didn't go down, but we're going to keep forcing Zoe to pass the ball.
All right, Latrell, good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Little different this half than back on Friday, Tom.
Exactly right, Jim. The New York Knicks will take a halftime lead here thanks to that 14-point second quarter by Latrell Sprewell. At halftime, 45-39, New York leads. Now stay tuned for Net Zero at the half, coming up after these messages. You're watching the NBA on NBC. American Airlines Arena in Miami in Game 7, with New York leading 45-39 over Miami. Latrell Sprewell, 20 points. Alonzo Mourning, 16. The 2 leading point getters in the game so far. In fact, the first quarter belonged to Miami behind Alonzo Mourning. Then Miami, with the starters going to the bench, hit one of those droughts. New York, Latrell Sprewell caught fire, absolutely caught fire, and they took command of the game. It's been one of those typical back-and-forth Miami-New York games.
But it wasn't just the scoring, Tom. It was the rebounding dominance. Early on, it was all Miami, with Alonzo Mourning leading the way. They got on that big 9-point lead, and then when he went to the bench, they all fell apart. And Marcus Camby came in, sparked him with 7 rebounds, out-rebounded the entire Miami team by himself in the second quarter alone. Biggest concern for New York right now. They got to get somebody else besides Latrell Sprewell going.
Well, I'm glad you agree on that Sprewell's not going to win the game by himself, but it feels for the Miami Heat like they've lost the game, and they're only down 6 points, and that's what they've got to recover from. After a great start and really having the crowd energized, they've got to get back to that kind of play for the second half.
Let's take a look at some first half trends now in today's game. And for Miami, it was a great first quarter behind Alonzo Mourning, within the second quarter belonging to Sprewell and the Knicks.
Where are they going to find the spark for Miami, with Jamal Mashburn having a very, very tough day, but the Knicks' defensive adjustments? First quarter, Alonzo Mourning up and down the court, just beating Patrick Ewing like a drum. And then Tim Hardaway able to get whatever he wanted, but by the second quarter, that all disappeared for Miami. Jamal Mashburn, who did not play well, had 2 points, 2 rebounds on 1 for 8 shooting. Latrell Sprewell takes the legs out from under Bruce Bowen. The Knicks took the heart away from the Miami Heat with great defense by Latrell Sprewell.
And before we start the second half, let's go to Jim Gray for a report.
Jeff, you get a couple of 9-0 runs. Are you going to have to be totally dependent on Latrell in the second half for your offense?
Well, Allen's hobbling a little bit, but I thought Latrell played really very well, and I thought we got some key offensive rebounds that allowed us, you know, off a shaky start to get back in the game.
Alonzo Mourning, any thoughts on trying to stop him here in the second half?
We're doing what we can, doubling, and you know he's a great player, and we're gonna have to keep him under control and guard the three-point line. We're concerned with both.
Tough place to be. Tom, back to you.
All right, Jim. Jim speaking with Jeff Van Gundy just a few moments ago, and he spoke of the Ewing Mourning battle. Alonzo winning it in a big way. Ewing in 13 minutes, 1 field goal, 6 points, and 1 rebound.
And the real story is, you know, what happened to Alonzo Mourning in that second quarter of play? Just 1 scoring opportunity. They have got to get on that horse and ride him to the finish line this afternoon. So that means he's going to have to stay aggressive at the offensive end, and they're going to have to drive everything through it.
A complete turnaround from Friday night's big Game 6 turnaround. Obviously, we're approaching the biggest second half in Miami Heat history.
Trying to put to rest the demons from the last 2 years when the Knicks knocked them out of the playoffs.
And for a game with this much pressure, with so much at stake, very few turnovers. New York with only 3 total turnovers. Miami, just 2.
New York has Larry Johnson, Latrell Sprewell, Patrick Ewing. They're shot up and good to open the second half by Sprewell, who continues hot. Charlie Ward is the other New York starter in Miami's original starting quintet. Hardaway, Mashburn, Mourning, Marley, and Brown.
What they did early was get the ball inside to Alonzo Mourning. He immediately draws a foul against Patrick Ewing. But when they were crisp early in the game, it was quick ball movement, good decision-making, big hoops for Alonzo Mourning right at the rim.
Second foul for Ewing. Nobody really in foul trouble. Chris Childs has 2. Marcus Camby has 2 as well for New York.
Mashburn for 3. And Jamal Mashburn finding the range after Mourning pitched it out of the double team. That cuts the lead to 5.
You know, at halftime, I went outside, took a little walk, and everybody was saying, what's wrong with Jamal Mashburn? He's so tentative, can't make a shot. Maybe this will free him up in the crowd as well.
Put your sunscreen on.
94 degrees out there.
Charlie Ward back to Ewing.
Crowd screaming for a traveling violation.
Here's Tim Hardaway.
Hesitation again, Steve.
Mashburn backing down Sprewell, doubled by Ewing.
Right there, you know, he doesn't want to take that shot. He's trying to get to the rim, and they call him for traveling.
Bob McAdoo wide-eyed on that bench, the assistant coach to Pat Riley, wondering when the referees are going to start looking at the feet, not just because the defender gets left and standing frozen to the ground.
You know, on that last possession, Pat Riley looked at Dan Marley and said, you got to shoot the ball.
There's a reach-in foul on Alonzo Mourning after Ewing had fumbled the ball. Mourning went after it and is assessed number 2.
The perfect post-entry pass. Ewing had the advantage and just couldn't stab it at all.
Charlie Ward gets a screen from Ewing, who rolls wide open to the bucket and scores.
Outstanding execution. Charlie Ward just so perfect on those type of passes. A long 20-foot type of pass. Charlie Ward at his best.
Miami takes the 22nd timeout. Pat Patrick Ewing and Bennett Salvatore having a discussion. Tom Hammond, Steve Snapper Jones, Bill Walton, Jim Gray. Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. New York and Miami. 10:15 to go, third quarter. New York leads by 7.
Pat Riley senses his team is flattening out emotionally, and that's why he called it. Once these guys remain aggressive, Ewing slaps that one away.
Terrific rotation. Outstanding timing by Ewing.
Johnson turns on Brown.
Through the legs again.
Fakes, fires, can't score. Marley gives it up to Hardaway. Hardaway was 3 for 4 in the first 7 minutes of the game as Mourning is hammered.
That's great strategy.
Tim Hardaway's missed his last 6 shots.
That's great strategy by Alonzo Mourning. Every time you get it, just go to the hoop with it. They're going to call some of these. Ewing now with 3 fouls to go along with those 8 points. When you have the mobility laterally to draw that body contact, Ewing a step late, time and time again.
Mashburn off a screen. Sprewell catches up to him. Here's Mourning, and now Marley finds the open man Hardaway for 3.
Pat Riley has told us time and time again, they got to make shots when they're there. They got to step up and deliver. When they won Game 5 down here, that's exactly what they did. Huge 3-point field goal.
They were 1 for 9 in the first half, the Miami Heat, from 3-point land. That was the best look they've had in a while.
Sprewell inside, Johnson to Ewing, and he'll shoot 2 free throws.
There's Johnson with the outstanding pass, knowing that he had 2-3 converging Miami Heat opponents over the top of him. Ewing had to be open, and Ewing, without double clutching, able to draw the foul as P.J. Brown picks up his 3rd.
They know that Mourning can't be everywhere, and that's what's creating the havoc for the Miami Heat.
The WNBA returns to NBC Memorial Day weekend. The New York Liberty and the 3-time defending champion Houston Comets, a rematch of last year's championship series. The WNBA Monday 3 Eastern on NBC.
There's a lot of clamor for P.J. Brown to come up huge here. He had the donut Game 6. Today he's got 3 fouls, but he has 2 points and 2 rebounds.
Mourning, a screen for Hardaway. Marley for 3. Miami starting to get the 3-point attack working in this quarter. Marley, Hardaway, and Mashburn have all sunk 3-pointers.
You know, and that is part of their game, and they've got to play their game. And I'm sure Riley told them, guys, you can't be tentative now.
Charlie Ward can't answer. Marley hauls down another carom. He has 6 rebounds.
Charlie Ward has had a nightmare offensive game.
Ward fell down, but Hardaway couldn't convert. Back tapped by Brown.
Shoot a 3. Step back and pull the trigger.
All they need is a score, but Hardaway goes for that 3.
P.J. Brown, another offensive board, and Miami retains possession.
Those long shots will lead to long rebounds. Terrific pass, Marley.
Mourning, and 1.
18 points already for Alonzo Mourning. Again, Marley making it all happen. First stepping behind that line, setting that back foot, and letting it go. And then when he gets the ball up top, he sees Alonzo Mourning actively, aggressively begging for that ball, pleading, will you throw it in here hard and high? He knows what to do with it.
All camera eyes on Mourning, who misses the free throw. He does have 18 points and 7 rebounds on 9 of 12 shooting. The lead is only 1. Mourning missing on the chance to tie at the free throw line.
Allen Houston is standing, not moving. Hardaway up in the passing lane.
So Miami now imposing its will. Pat Riley said each game takes on its own character, the ebb and flow. And the winner is the one who imposes its will on the other with finality.
Well, their defense really lives off of whether they're getting some offensive efficiency. Houston
for 3. Ewing lost it on the way up. Taken by Hardaway. He stripped it out of his hand.
What has happened to Ewing's hands?
Brown and 1.
Pushing the back by the undersized Larry Johnson. Delayed transition offense here. Big guys running the floor, something that P.J. Brown and Alonzo Mourning have an edge over their counterparts from New York. Pat Riley ecstatic, the push, the drive, the crowd, taking them to new heights here in Miami.
Three-point play, P.J. Brown, and the Miami lead is 2. Miami on an 8-0 run to lead it 53-51.
This is a second half reminiscent to the Knicks second half in Game 6. Sprewell. They took everything away from him, and they're fortunate to have the ball back. 9 on the clock.
Sprewell's playing at a different pace than everybody else is.
Mashburn sets sail for the other end. He has Hardaway on the wing. Here's Hardaway to Marley. Hardaway open 3. No good, and rebounded by Ward.
He stepped on the line anyway, so he's only going to get 2, and Ward and the Knicks coming back in a hurry.
No fast break opportunities for New York. Great transition defense for the Heat.
Houston dishing to Johnson. Blocked by Mourning. Mourning rejecting yet another shot.
Defense leading the transition.
Oh, my. You come across the middle and pass that up.
Marley looked like he had beaten the defense. Hardaway against Ewing.
Third quarter decisive playoff games. Referees let that go. These teams have to take advantage of that.
Yeah, Patrick Ewing has run out of gas. He's the last guy down, and that allows Mourning to just clog up the middle. 10 on the clock for Houston.
Why do they get double teamed then?
Three-pointer good by Charlie Ward.
Well, Pat Riley says timeout. That's just a flawed defensive execution by Miami.
5:50 to go in the third. New York by 1. The NBA on NBC.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by the smooth, satisfying taste of Michelob Light, beer or Michelob Light. By Infinity, introducing the new, more powerful Infinity QX4. By 1-800-CALL-AGT for collect calls. And by Net Zero, defenders of the free world. Free internet access forever. Call 1-800-DEFENDER.
Welcome back to Game 7. Of course, every NBA player plays with an eye on that championship ring. Pat Riley sporting one of his 5 NBA championship rings. He's used a ring as a motivator for his team, especially last season. After blowing an 18-point lead in Game 6, Riley said he wants his players to forget about that and return to their warrior mentality.
The Warriors don't live in the past. The past is dead. You know, life is now, and our future is waiting. That's something we put on the board at the beginning of the year, and I want them to think that way. You know, I want them to think that they got to look each other in the eye and they got to support one another, and we're going down that road together. And I think it's a fun thing when you get everybody into that competitive thing and everybody in it together equally. Then I think it's the best of times for a team.
Turnover out of the break for Miami, but where would this franchise be without Pat Riley? One of the handful of guys who could be considered the greatest coach in the history of the NBA. 155 playoff victories, tops in NBA history.
And 999 in the regular season, second all time.
That's got to be a foul.
And it is on Tim Hardaway.
That shot could not have missed that bad by itself.
Got him on the elbow, I think. And Hardaway's second.
And they got Hardaway in a cross-up of a mismatch. He was guarding Larry Johnson, trying to get back to Charlie Ward. Got him on the arm, but it's...
When was the last time Charlie made that shot? Why would you foul him there?
The Brady Bunch, one of the hottest shows on television in its day. And tonight on NBC, see the world premiere movie that tells what went on behind the scenes growing up Brady, tonight at 9/8 Central on NBC.
It was Charlie Ward that just made the three-pointer to put
That was a
wide
open three, as opposed to pump fake, go back to your left and hit a jumper in Tim Hardaway's face. I haven't seen that one go down in a few games.
New York by 3. Brown open from Mourning, missed it. All alone, Houston pulls in the board.
Beat everybody down the floor, but nobody saw him.
Well, Allen Houston's laboring. You know, he's playing with that severely turned ankle.
But he can pass.
Here is Ewing, double team. Sprewell fumbled the pass from Ward. Puts it up anyway, and an air ball into the hands of Brown. Ewing swiped it away, and then Marley fouled him.
Riley's arguing for the first foul to be called that allowed Ewing to grab this ball right back.
Number 2 on Dan Marley sends Patrick Ewing to the free throw line. The 37-year-old New York Warrior. Makes good on the first one. Let's go to Jim Gray.
Well, Tom, you mentioned that Allen Houston is really laboring. And last time out, Jeff Van Gundy asked him how his ankle is. He told him it was really sore. He asked him if he wanted to continue, and Houston said, yes, for now, I want to continue. Tom?
The player's always going to want to continue. You know, and Allen Houston at his worst, at his limping worst, is better than almost anyone else. But still, you got to go with healthy guys.
He has 5 points today as New York on a 7-0 run, broken by Mourning's jump hook. So a game of runs again. The Heat score 8 in a row. Miami scores 7 straight. Now here comes Miami again, back within 3.
Miami struggles offensively when they forget about Alonzo Mourning, and they have to remember just how dominant he's been this afternoon. He's got 20.
Ward for 3. Over the top of the backboard and out of bounds to Miami.
Now that is over the top, and that is a violation. But with Alonzo Mourning rolling into the lane and the fine ball movement, Alonzo able to get his balance, get the little hitch to his step to give him the momentum to deliver on that jump hook.
Brown takes it to the rim. Partially blocked by Ewing. Mourning clears it. Here's Mashburn for 3. And Patrick Ewing all alone has rebound number 5.
Terrific recovery in this game from Ewing after a nightmare start.
Ewing missing that shot. Mourning with the outlet to Hardaway. Miami looking for some transition buckets. Pull up 3 by Hardaway.
You know, the Miami Heat are so much like the Houston Rockets when they were a team, of course, in the Western Conference. When they're making those threes, they will wear you out. And when they're missing, they stall and they've run into a stone wall.
The NBA playoffs on NBC. Well, there's no mistaking that call. Andres Cantor, the voice of soccer in America, coming to NBC for the Olympics this September in Sydney, calling all the U.S. games.
But the New York Knicks are the team, after a sluggish, fatigued start, have turned this around because of hustle plays, going for balls that normally they would let go. Charlie Ward, Marcus Camby. The defense rotating, collapsing. Kurt Thomas keeping it alive, turning into fast break offense. And that converging defense has stifled Tim Hardaway, who started this game 3 for 4 in the first 7 minutes. But since that time has gone a disastrous 1 for 12 from the floor.
Sprewell to Ewing, who's fouled by Hardaway.
Hey, they want to say before he got that left-hander off and put Patrick Ewing on the line. But the Knicks are becoming a little bit sharper at finding Patrick Ewing. Ewing's moving much better without the ball, not trying to go one-on-one, and he's finding it easier to get a hoop.
Hardaway committing his 3rd foul, and we've seen Tim this entire 3rd quarter. We haven't seen Anthony Carter at the point for Miami at all in the 3rd.
The loyalty that a coach like Pat Riley has in his players.
Despite that 1 of 12 shooting his last 12 shots, he's hit only 1 of them.
He demands it from his players. To him, to the franchise, he's giving it right back here, right now. Will Tim Hardaway be back if this team does not win here? He's a free agent.
Now, they're only down by 5, and when they get in trouble, they got to go back to Mashburn and play through him. If they just go back to him in mismatches, he's going to score. P.J. Brown.
Much needed bucket for the Miami Heat. 7th point for P.J. Brown. 3-point New York Knicks lead in Game 7.
P.J. Brown is allowing the Knicks defense to keep him from even catching the ball. He's got to break the play and come out and receive it. He needs touches more than anything else, Mashburn.
Sprewell dishes to Ewing, pulls up and scores. Patrick Ewing with 16 points. Could he go back-to-back? Looks like the big fella's digging deep. He has 10 in this 3rd quarter.
It's been a big 3rd quarter for him, and he's doing it all with without the ball. They double Mourning. They got to get it back to Mourning. He's got a smaller Larry Johnson on him, and he's got to look to shoot the ball.
But shoots a fall-away jump shot that's an air ball. Why didn't he take it to the rim?
Wild sequence for Miami with poor floor balance. Nice ball movement.
Here's Ewing. P.J. Brown deflects it out of bounds. New York will get it back. 11 to shoot.
We talked so many years about Patrick Ewing having to have the basketball and liking to make the play himself, and he's finally figured out easier ways to score by playing off of other people. Big quarter for him, 10.
Hardaway the steal.
Oh, the quickness of Ewing. And now they're going to say, what about the shot clock? Should this be reset here? Did Miami have clear possession?
Hardaway deflected it and then set sail for the other end, and Mashburn couldn't quite get it to him, and Knicks got it back.
Well, this is a decision that the referees will make. Because if it was just a bobbled free ball contested by both teams, they will not reset that shot clock.
Putting it down to 5. There was no control on the Miami Heat deflection, so the Knicks are going to get it back. 5 to shoot.
1:41 left in the third quarter. New York leads 62-57. Sprewell over Mashburn. Alonzo Mourning has 10 rebounds and a double-double.
Tim Hardaway can't run. He can't push the ball. You got Mourning and P.J. Brown who can run against Ewing and Larry Johnson. You got Mashburn who can run, Marley who can run, but the point guard can't deliver.
Larry Johnson called for a foul and is just about, yes, is teed up.
And now Larry Johnson throwing Charlie Ward out of the way.
Real hot with Charlie Ward saying, I know what I'm doing. And Charlie said, hey, you need to simmer down. We need you. This game is a long way from done.
So Tim Hardaway, an 83% free throw shooter in the regular season.
And how much emotional pain does Tim Hardaway have in his life right now? He's lived for these moments. One of the top players of the last decade. Now he's got a bad foot, and this foul called on Larry Johnson on the reception of the ball, and then he just goes and gets right in the face of referee Dan Crawford, who will have none of it.
So now Mourning on the personal foul will go to the free throw line as Charlie Ward tries to restrain LJ. Alonzo has 20 points, now 21.
And again, we're back in that position where it seems as though the Miami Heat are really on their heels. But you look at the scoreboard, they're only down 3.
Marcus Camby has replaced Larry Johnson for the Knicks.
This is one of those special moments for Marcus Camby, who absolutely has to come through and deliver. He had 2 very solid games to open up this series. Since then, he's been extremely quiet.
Offensive foul on Houston as Brown took the charge.
But Houston made no attempt to finesse his way around. He just lowers his shoulder and is going to come right through the chest of P.J. Brown.
Finesse, he can't move. Look at that left ankle. The guy's hopping around out there on one leg. Making Jeff Hornacek look like Shaquille O'Neal.
Go the other direction.
Chris Childs replaces Charlie Ward for New York. Marley posting inside, and he scores. Dan Marley has tied the game at 62. Inside the final minute of the third quarter, this is when the Warriors, be they Knicks or Heat, come to the floor.
Sprewell each and every time for Van Gundy.
Penetrates, kicks it out to Childs for 3. Big shot, Chris Childs, a 3-pointer.
A history of clutch shots for the Knicks for Chris Childs in desperate moments when he plays his best.
Now, the important thing when you're playing catch-up is not only to catch up, but to go over the top. Mourning's going to get another foul as he comes across the middle. You got an ailing Allen Houston, and you're attacking him with Dan Marley for the first time in the quarter. Nice move.
The left-handed jump hook by Dan Marley. How sweet is that? And Chris Childs comes right back with the shot clock winding down. Sprewell becoming the passer. The confidence just oozing from Chris Childs.
Marcus Camby, just committing his third foul, has not scored, and he puts Alonzo Mourning back at the free throw line.
And the free throw line is what's allowing Alonzo Mourning to get his number back up. In the quarter now, it's gone to 7, and he's got 23 on the afternoon.
But the freshness, who's going to have that in the upcoming fourth? Is the crowd going to be able to lift Alonzo Mourning? Going to be able to push Tim Hardaway, Dan Marley, Jamal Mashburn to levels that they've never achieved before?
Second free throw, no good. Camby rebounds. And with time running out in the third, New York has the ball up 2. Sprewell against Mashburn. Drives baseline. Brown helps out. Here's Houston for 3. No good. Hardaway. 6 seconds left in the quarter. Hardaway penetrates. Finds Brown. He got it. 2.9 seconds left in the third. Childs gets to midcourt and he's no good. The third quarter is over. And once again, we are tied. Patrick Ewing proving he had enough stamina to get it done with a big third quarter. But Miami.
You know, Patrick Ewing is always wanting to be in that championship game and be a player in the big moment, and he found a way to get into this one. Defensively, he was a force for them, but moving without the basketball is where he made his biggest contribution. 10 in the quarter and 16 on the afternoon.
Where does he find this energy after that monumental contribution in Game 6? 37 years old. When the body no longer responds to the mental commands, Patrick Ewing, through all the injuries, missed last year's finals, still getting it done for New York.
It's one of the greatest rivalries in all of professional sports, and in Game 7, we start the fourth quarter tied.
Now here's a guy that's got to step up for Miami. Mashburn, and he squeezes one off. Good quick move on the baseline by Larry Johnson.
Somebody lost their wristbands on that scrum underneath the basket. They've got to get them off the court for safety's sake.
Ball boy retrieves them down at the other end.
Crowd screaming for traveling on Larry Johnson.
Childs finds Camby, who fumbles it but manages to save it. Deflected out of bounds by Marley.
3 on the shot clock. Indecision once again by Miami. We should have P.J. Brown.
Allen Houston went out of the ball game, brought Larry Johnson back in, so it's Childs, Sprewell in the backcourt.
Sprewell beat the shot clock, couldn't hit. Long rebound. Hardaway still out there for Pat Riley. Finds Mourning. Jam. Tim Hardaway with his head up. Throws it 3/4 length of the court. And Mourning throws it down. 20-second timeout, New York.
Quickness to the ball, feeding off the home crowd. Tim Hardaway through the paint, able to find a wide open Alonzo Mourning, celebrating the push. What's often the difference here in the home court. These guys started the game on fire. Hardaway and Alonzo Mourning, they were both taken out by Patrick Riley on the substitution pattern rotation. Now they've got their game back together. Can Sprewell do the same?
He's fouled. Sprewell made a quick ball fake, drove baseline, and picked up the foul. It's on Marley.
P.J. Brown.
Well, they say P.J. Brown, even though Marley raises his hand. It's 4 on Brown.
How close can you get in this series? I mean, everything. 1 total point. Field goals even.
That's to the moment.
Free throws, a slight edge to New York. Blocks, virtually even.
Clarence Weatherspoon replaces P.J. Brown, who goes to the bench in foul trouble. 10 to shoot for New York. Childs, that's a long 2. High rebound to Mashburn.
In a game that's as tight and tense as this, you almost have to look for the cheap bucket. And Miami's a fresher team. They got to make a quick push.
Give it to Mourning, let him drive to the basket. Turn and face and drive to the hoop, get to the free throw line.
Back to Hardaway. Steps up. Back to Alonzo, who made a great catch, and he is fouled. That basket will not count. Chris Childs fouled him as Alonzo was making the catch from Hardaway. So you saw the run since LJ's technical foul. And Chris Childs picks up his third.
Allen Houston got a short breather. He's going to come back out on the floor and give Sprewell a little bit of a break. I mean, Sprewell, he may be forcing the issue a little bit, and he needs to gather himself.
Wait a second. You can't take Sprewell out. You're down 4. It's in the fourth quarter. Maybe for one possession, but certainly no longer than that.
You got 10 minutes to play. You know that the Heat are going to go on another one of those droughts. Weatherspoon comes in, gets a big hoop. 6 straight points for them at the top of the quarter. A lot of time for the New York Knicks.
I have never seen Latrell Sprewell need a rest, ever.
Allen Houston's had such a tough day with that bad ankle. Just 2 of 8 shooting, 5 points. Meanwhile, here's an unsung hero that may step up for Miami.
Weatherspoon, who joined this team as a free agent, wanted to be part of something special. He's certainly right in the middle of it now.
Van Gundy is not resting Sprewell because he's tired. He wants to get him refocused. You know, you get behind, you have a tendency after you brought your team back into it, had a big first half to continue to push. Sprewell only ended up with 2 points in the third quarter.
That last foul was a double foul on Mourning and Ewing. It's 4 on Ewing, 3 on Mourning.
Houston.
Blocked by Zoe. Another rejection by the defensive player of the year. And then fumbled away by Carter, who just comes in the game. Childs is fouled and one.
The sense of desperation in this series. You fall a couple of points behind, you just come right back and take the lead again. But with Alonzo Mourning coming out of nowhere, Allen Houston can't deliver off that bad left ankle. Anthony Carter can't even hold on to the ball.
Carter, once a hero, might be heading for GOAT. We'll see.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Miller Lite. The coolest stuff in the world is at Miller's Get the Goods Online auction. By Chrysler. These will never land on an ordinary car. By the irresistible taste that makes you say, did somebody say McDonald's? And by Nike.
Knicks coach Jeff Van Gundy matched up once again with his teacher, Pat Riley. Jeff says the 2 biggest breaks in his life were when Riley brought him to New York and when Riley left New York. Jeff at one time was trying to claw his way up to get an assistant's job, and Riley practically had to make him come out and sit on the bench before game 1 of the season. And then when Riley left to go to Miami, it was Jeff Van Gundy who was tapped to take over as the head coach. To this day, he carries in his wallet a letter from Pat Riley after last season's Game 5 when they eliminated the Miami Heat, in which Pat Riley talked about all the qualities that he thinks Jeff possesses as an NBA head coach and a person, a man of high quality and character, according to Riley. Mourning, the catch and the foul. And Van Gundy carries in his wallet also a couple poems given to him by his dad. His dad has been a coach and has not only Jeff as his son, but on the other bench, Stan Van Gundy, who is to this day a Pat Riley assistant.
You know, the fighter that is in Jeff Van Gundy really comes out when you watch his team play, because he just doesn't want to lose himself, and he and Riley have that same kind of competitive spirit.
With that miss, let's check in with Jim Gray.
Tom, you guys are talking about the Van Gundys. Well, Stan and Jeff have not really spoken throughout this entire series. When they've seen each other in the hall, they've exchanged pleasantries. They don't speak to each other during this period. In fact, neither one of them really wants to call home to their parents because they don't want to be placing them in the position where they know that it's difficult for either of the parents because they don't know who to root for. And Stan has just said, I only want people in my life during this period who are rooting for me. So he's kind of even staying away from his family, figuring there's a lot more time to make up with them after this is over.
A lot of people get opportunities. It's what you do with those opportunities.
Well, Van Gundy taking over after Don Nelson had a brief stint as New York coach, and Riley came to Miami. Alonzo Mourning missing 2 free throws, but then Kurt Thomas fumbling the ball out of bounds, and Miami has it back.
Mourning missed the 2 free throws at the end of Game 6. Comes right back and can't get the jumper to go.
Weatherspoon's follow's no good. Finally, Marcus Camby collars it for New York. And then he's fouled by Carter.
Johnson down at the other end of the floor looked like he jammed his hand and is holding that right hand. But, you know, this is a situation where every loose ball means so much, and Camby came up with a big one.
Chris Childs has scored New York's last 6 points in a 5-minute span. Here's Allen Houston. Marley right in his face. Shot short. Marley has it.
Allen just can't move. That ankle is too painful. Too swollen, no explosion, no ability to drive and elevate. How sad.
The last time Mashburn was here, he went baseline and was able to get all the way in, and Larry Johnson shuts that off.
Houston's 2 for 10 on the afternoon.
Mourning being fronted by Thomas, pounds it home, and one.
Going without Patrick Ewing, Alonzo Mourning feels he can overpower Kurt Thomas. These guys used to be on the same team, and Kurt Thomas has a lot of experience. But Alonzo Mourning has gotten significantly better in the last 5 years.
Well, with the exception perhaps of the free throws, Alonzo Mourning has left nothing on the floor today.
Well, remember game 1. It was Alonzo Mourning who closed it out by scoring 8 straight points to get him to win.
He has 27 points, 10 rebounds, but misses another free throw. Costly free throw misses by Alonzo. From American Airlines Arena in Miami, the New York Knicks and the Miami Heat in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. Tom Hammond, Bill Walton, Steve Snapper Jones, Jim Gray. It's been a seesaw game. It's gone back and forth. Miami has the upper hand now as Chris Childs scores again. He scored New York's last 8 points.
Childs doing a terrific job of taking the ball right at Alonzo Mourning. That's the hardest thing for a top shot blocker to deal with. And they're in your face and trying to quick it by you.
Winner of this game moves on to face Indiana in the Eastern Conference Finals beginning on Tuesday.
The loser gets broken up.
6 on the clock for Mashburn.
2 to shoot, stripped away, and that's a shot clock violation. It'll be New York ball.
Mashburn is not being aggressive, and that's what's getting him in trouble. He's a little bit tentative. Maybe this anger that he's showing at the official will come out and be an attacking, aggressive offensive force.
You don't think it's too late?
Mashburn has only 7 points. He's been one of the offensive mainstays of the Heat throughout the playoffs. Not today.
He was 3 for 12 Friday night in New York in the game where they can clinch it.
There's too much game left for it to be too late. And as we've seen Chris Childs come alive, Mashburn as well.
Sprewell missing, and Mourning has his 11th board. Mashburn gives it to Marley. Here's Mourning driving to the hoop and dishing back outside. Here's the re-entry. Mourning again aggressively to the hoop. Left hand no good. Followed by Weatherspoon.
Well, Mourning is gassed, and you can see him looking up, and he's saying, I need some air right now, but he's trying to be everywhere.
Don't give him that idea. Don't give Pat Riley that idea to take him out again. That was the worst thing that could have possibly happened to Miami.
Carter falls down. Childs hits again. He's the only Knick to score in the last 6 minutes, and he scored 12 in a row.
And he's keeping them close. I mean, it's a 3-point lead for the Miami Heat.
Riley's going to call a timeout to give Alonzo Mourning a rest.
It comes with 6:34 left in the 4th quarter. Here's the follow by Clarence Weatherspoon. And then on the other end, Chris Childs. He's had the hot hand for the Knicks. He delivers again. The NBA on NBC. Perhaps the most intense rivalry in sports today. It began with the fight-marred '97 series. Tim Hardaway carried Miami to a Game 7 victory. The next year, the tables turned as the Knicks, with Patrick Ewing on the bench, upset the Heat in Miami. And last year, the rivalry's biggest moment, the last-second shot by Allen Houston, gave the 8-seeded Knicks a stunning, heroic victory over the top-seeded Heat. Game 7 began with fireworks today, and teacher against pupil again. With emotions never far from the surface, the two teams have played on even terms, and now 6:34 remain in Game 7, and the New York Knicks And the Miami Heat separated by only 3 points. Miami leads 75-72.
I've never seen the Heat crowd so energetic from the outset today. For New York, though, they're going to have to find some offensive spark besides Chris Childs. With Latrell Sprewell in the first half, he's only got 2 points in this half since the opening possession of the third quarter.
Tim Hardaway is back for Miami at the point guard spot. Mourning sandwiched. Hardaway left open. His three-pointer, no good, an air ball. Weatherspoon can't save it. Shot clock violation anyway.
A terrific closeout by Marcus Camby defensively. Came out with that full 7 feet of length. Blocked all vision of the basket by Hardaway, forcing him the long air ball over the top.
Hardaway's only hit 1 of his last 13 shots.
You know, Childs has got to stay aggressive. He's the guy that's making it happen. Patrick Ewing,
top of the key, short.
Hardaway's hit 1 for 13. He's still in there, and they're winning.
Hardaway looks to Mourning.
They're going to surround Mourning. They're not going to let Mourning spin on Patrick Ewing. Middle open for Marley.
And he leaves it for Weatherspoon, who is fouled by Ewing. Dan Marley made it happen with a great pass fake. Then drove in, got the ball to Weatherspoon, who draws the foul. That's Ewing's 5th foul.
But the inability to guard Alonzo Mourning initially, straight up one-on-one, has just killed the Knicks throughout this series. That allows the ball movement. That allows the wide-open three-point shots. That allows the ball fake, the pump fake, the drive down the lane and the dish.
And if Miami loses today, they can point to the free throw line where they have not done well. You can catch up with the Western Conference Finals on TNT tomorrow night, Game 2 of the Lakers and the Blazers, with coverage starting at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's tomorrow night on TNT. Miami's 0 for 5 at the free throw line in this quarter. And they still lead by 3, but what a missed opportunity for the Heat.
Ewing has to go to the bench with the 5 fouls now. Nice pass.
Camby as replacement, blocked by Mourning. Another one by Alonzo Mourning. He has 5 blocked shots.
And Gundy says, can somebody please make a shot, a dunk, something?
Larry Johnson trying to defend Alonzo Mourning. Gets a lot of help. Take your choice on the foul.
It's a bad matchup, and you can see that Mourning will not let this go. He is going to come from nowhere and get on top of that shot.
How about the bobble of the ball by Marcus, though? You get that and grab it the first time and quickly dunk it before Alonzo Mourning can rotate back down from his initial double team.
Alonzo has missed 3 free throws in this quarter.
Finally.
Well, that's a sense of fatigue that's crawling in on him, and anxiety in a very tight ball game. This guy's not a great free thrower to begin with, and he needs a little bit of that pressure off of him. Gets both of these.
How long do you leave Ewing on the bench here?
5 minutes, 12 seconds and counting.
It depends on whether Mourning hurts him in the next minute or so. If the Knicks can score and stay within 3, they'll ride it out till about the 3-minute mark. Larry Johnson.
Childs draws the foul from Hardaway.
Larry Johnson driving the ball into somebody else's defensive man. They're not coming, Miami, to double team Larry Johnson, which is a strategy that has worked for Pat Riley, as too many teams come and double a guy who's only going to give you 6 to 8 points a game. And Larry Johnson, realizing that, is initiating the offense by taking it at someone else.
Well, a lot of unlikely heroes have emerged in this series, and Chris Childs is one for New York today. He has 12 points, and he has carried the Knicks through this drought that they've experienced the last few minutes.
And he has sensed the pressure on that free throw of having to carry the team. That one was very tight, very short.
He's the only Knick to score in the 4th quarter.
The problem for New York is that they're down 5 and no one's playing well. It's okay to be down if you got Houston and Sprewell high, if you got Ewing on a roll, but that is far from the case.
P.J. Brown replaces Weatherspoon, so the starting 5 intact for Miami with just under 5 minutes left. And they lead by 4. Childs hounding Hardaway, if nothing else, taking time off the shot clock. Hardaway left open, though. They forgot about him, and he hits one. He'd been really struggling with his shot, and they forgot about him, and he put it home.
And he looked over and said, what are they doing? Why are they backing off? I'm Tim Hardaway. I can knock that jumper down all day long.
Sprewell. Mourning comes out to help. Here's Childs for three. Rebounded by Mashburn. And Mashburn's not going to wait. Now he will, as New York is back on defense, and Mourning just now coming into front court. Can't blame Alonzo for being tired, though. He has.
You're supposed to be tired.
He's really given it one of his great clutch performances.
The crowd into it. It's 6 on the clock as they come back to Mourning.
Now that's what Pat Riley does not want Mourning to do, to settle for the fall away when every time he takes it to the rim, he either scores or draws the foul.
Especially when Larry Johnson's guarding you.
Well, Pat Riley is wondering, PJ, what are you thinking? Childs has got this rebound under control after the mid. So watch the position, and Brown will come in, pop him in the back, and the little man comes back to the free throw line. Chris Childs' show continues as they are down by 6.
Hands in the end zone, trying to distract Childs, who shot 80% at the line regular season.
There's few players at the end of game in pressure situation that you'd rather have on the line than Chris Childs. This guy is ice.
You see that 9 points in the fourth? The only Knick to score.
But the game is close, and that's the most important thing. If they can just get Sprewell or Houston and knock down a shot, they're right back in it. He gets both of them. 10 1/4. This is a defensive stop that they really need right now. Miami should come back through Mourning.
But Miami has to give Hardaway some help, not make it so difficult to bring the ball up the court with a laboring dribble.
And Patrick Ewing with 5 fouls back in. Mashburn bulls his way in and misses a wild shot. Bodies everywhere. Mashburn still not down court. It's an advantage for the Knicks, 5 on 4. Now Mashburn recovers. Ewing.
That's all you need right there. Somebody to help you out. You got a 4th 3-point game.
Miami's going to take a timeout here. Critical element. Don't wait or count on the referees in the last 3:26.
Ewing becomes the first Knick other than Childs to score in the fourth, and it cuts the lead to 2. NBA Playoffs 2000, the Eastern Conference semifinals, Game 7 between the New York Knicks and the Miami Heat. Tom Hammond, Bill Walton, Steve Snapper Jones, Jim Gray with 3:26 to go in Game 7. Miami clings to a 2-point lead, and what has happened to Latrell Sprewell? So hot, especially in that second quarter, and has not scored the last 20 minutes, missing 6 shots. Houston, hampered today by the ankle injury, has scored only 5, and yet the Knicks trail by just 2.
And the ankle's getting worse for Allen Houston. All 5 of those points came in the first half. Not good signs for Jeff Van Gundy. They're still right there, though, with a slight chance.
Slight, they got a huge chance. 3:16 to go, and Miami looking for Alonzo Mourning. 5 on the clock.
Alonzo, double team, shot an air ball. P.J. Brown.
How many shot clock violations for the Heat in this series? 2 of them just in the last couple of possessions.
We'll give that swarming New York defense some credit. Mourning gets the ball, and they double and triple team him. 8 shot clock violations to answer your question.
That's pretty quick.
Very quick.
Mashburn gliding underneath Larry Johnson, and Riley realizing every call is critical all over the officials here, but watch Mashburn hook, and then Larry Johnson slides off of him and will get to the free throw line.
Chris Childs is over getting attended to in front of the Knicks bench by legendary trainer Mike Saunders.
Meanwhile, Larry Johnson with a chance to tie the game at the free throw line.
Clutch performances have become Larry Johnson's stock in trade. The 4-point play against Indiana last year, the 3-pointers time and time again to keep the Knicks alive.
LJ's first point in 31 minutes. The second one good, and we're tied at 79.
But the Knicks are making their free throws. The Heat are not. Heat are getting shot clock violations.
They're going to try to stay with Mourning. Larry Johnson's almost down in a blocking position, trying to keep him from getting the ball.
Mourning waiting for the traffic to clear, but then didn't attack. Mashburn does, but can't finish. Ewing knocked down after he grabbed the rebound, got it to Sprewell.
Ewing intimidates the shot, forces the miss, then goes and gets the rebound, goes to his back. How tough is this guy?
Knicks can take the lead this possession.
P.J. Brown, and that might be it for P.J. Brown on the screen.
So Brown, for the second straight game, fouls out.
But worse yet, that puts Sprewell at the line and a chance for the Knicks to go ahead. From dead in the water and just riding Chris Childs, they've been able to stay in the ball game, and now a chance to go ahead with Sprewell at the line.
Well, the free throw story. The Knicks, 29 attempts today. They've made 26 of them. Remarkable. P.J. Brown to the bench with a quiet 9 points. Ineffective on the board. Miami on the free throw line, on the other hand, only 21 attempts. And they made a paltry 11.
Sprewell with body English wills that one over the front rim.
Yeah, there was some tightness there.
This is the man you least expect the tightness from.
First point since the first minute of the second half for Latrell Sprewell. He notches them both. And the Knicks have a 2-point lead, 81-79.
Now, at the offensive end, particularly for Mashburn, he has to play with some calm. He's rushed his last 2 efforts in trying to get to the rim and got nothing for it. 9 on the clock.
Weatherspoon has to shoot over Ewing, and the rebound taken by Childs. I don't think that's what they wanted.
When Mashburn gets the ball, he's thinking about passing. The footwork he uses, that's a passive acceptance type of offensive stance as opposed to aggressive like Latrell Sprewell here.
Sprewell backs off, can't deliver. Mourning gives it to Hardaway. Miami with the ball, down 2, a minute 40 and counting.
They're trying to go pick and roll so they can get a shot for
Tim Hardaway with a 3-pointer. Bad shooting stretch or not, Hardaway, fearless, delivers a 3.
They were trying to set up a pick and roll for Mourning, and Hardaway said, it's the TH factor, my time is now, and the Miami Heat have a 1-point advantage.
Tim Hardaway, clutch 3, the NBA on NBC. Well, Pat Riley says Tim Hardaway is the most important player on this team. Maybe not the most talented, but the most important. And when these two teams met here in Miami on April 9th, it was Hardaway that delivered with a 3-pointer at the buzzer in overtime to give the Heat a dramatic 1-point victory. Impossible shot by Hardaway, but one that turned out to be the difference in the standings that gave Miami first place in the Atlantic Division and the home court advantage for this Game 7 today. Hardaway had just scored 2 field goals in the last 4.5 minutes. He had missed 12 of his last 13, but they are clutch, and he's given the Heat a 1-point lead.
Plenty of time for the New York Knicks, and they're coming inside to Ewing.
And Ewing with a jam as Alonzo Mourning, for some reason, gambled and went over the top, leaving Ewing a clear path to the bucket.
He's blocking every shot that comes to the hoop. Ewing hasn't had a go-to move all day, and Alonzo Mourning makes the ill-advised decision of coming over his back.
Here's Mourning, quickly doubled. He got rid of it. Shot clock at 10. Mashburn driving on Sprewell, backing his way in. Pull back, can't score. Kept alive by Mourning, but now Ewing has it. And Ewing has his 10th rebound.
And Van Gundy is saying, go get up there, hurry up. We got time. Let's get one play and try to get a three-point advantage.
Come to Sprewell right here. He's your best chance of either getting the shot to go down or to the line.
8 on the clock.
Sprewell to Childs. Childs had it stripped away by Hardaway. Hardaway has it, waiting for his teammates as the Knicks are back on defense. Coming to the 30-second mark.
Now Alonzo Mourning. They're going to call a timeout and figure this one out.
Timeout Miami. They'll have it back with 13 on the shot clock. 26.3 seconds left. Miami's ball trailing by 1. Judgment day for the Miami Heat franchise as we know it. Pat Riley keeping his team together despite being eliminated, disappointingly so, the last 2 seasons by the New York Knicks. Once and forever, he said it's time for these players to step up. 26.3 seconds left. They're down to their final timeout, trailing the New York Knicks by 1.
Get the ball to Alonzo Mourning on the left block or wing. Have him turn and face against Ewing. Have him drive to the hoop. None of this fadeaway stuff. This is the championship right here. If they collapse, kick it out to Marley or Hardaway for the dagger 3.
Well, they got to do it quickly. They only have 10 seconds on the shot clock if Hardaway's going on his own.
Hardaway, wild shot. Scramble for it.
Jump ball.
Jump ball called. Well, Tim Hardaway decided to do it on his own, and he put up a shot that had no chance.
Shot clock is off now.
14.2 seconds remaining in Game 7. Jump ball, Alonzo Mourning and Latrell Sprewell.
Anticipation. Who's going to move for this ball? Is Sprewell going to steal it?
Mourning's tapping back between Mashburn and Hardaway, and you can see everybody inching over there trying to close that space. The official trying to get some room to toss it.
Neither player got it on the first try. Mashburn chases it down. And Miami uses its final timeout with 12.4 seconds left. Pat Riley must devise a play now to erase the ghosts of seasons past. We'll be right back. Miami has used its final timeout with 12.4 seconds left. Last season, the roles were reversed as the New York Knicks had the ball and time running out in this dramatic shot by Allen Houston with 0.8 of a second left in the 5th and deciding game gave New York a 1-point come from behind victory. Houston scoring 6 of his 12 points in the 4th as the Knicks eliminated their arch rivals. And now it's Miami's turn to try to pull one out. Will they exorcise the demons, or will New York once again eliminate them from the playoffs? 12.4 seconds, Marley to inbound.
The strategy shouldn't change for Miami. Alonzo Mourning comes and gets it.
And he flashes it to Mashburn. Mashburn gives it up to Weatherspoon. Weatherspoon's shot, no good. Tapped. Marley makes a stab, can't get it, and Sprewell with the ball calls timeout. Of all the players on the court, the last one you would guess to take a shot would be Clarence Weatherspoon.
It's not clear as to what the referees are going to decide here. Bennett Salvatore, Dick Bennett, and Dan Crawford are going to huddle.
Tim Hardaway arguing with Dan Crawford. Now Alonzo Mourning steps in.
Jamal Mashburn sitting at the half-court line. Tough shot here. The length of Marcus Camby causes that shot to be off the mark. Latrell Sprewell just holding, calling timeout. As he's got both feet inbounds, able to make that call, falling out of bounds.
2.1 seconds on the clock. It looks like New York might do it to Miami again. 2.1 on the clock. New York has the ball. They lead by 1.
With the long jumper here. A little stumble by Marcus Camby. He's able to recover. And then in that long rebound, it's Latrell Sprewell. The hungriest, the quickest. Calling the timeout there. Alonzo Mourning, Jamal Mashburn, Tim Hardaway should have been the shooters.
Well, Tom, what had happened is Bennett Salvatore and Dick Pavetta conferred with each other. They were both wanting to agree that they had seen Latrell Sprewell and heard him call timeout. They weren't looking at his feet. Tom?
Thanks, Jim. 2.1 seconds left. And Ward has to call New York's final timeout, unable to inbound the ball. Still 2.1 on the clock. Will return to Miami in a moment. Anxiety etched on the face of Tim Hardaway. Sore foot and all, he's played most of the game today. And despite a poor shooting afternoon, hit a clutch three. In fact, with 4:40 left on the clock, Hardaway hit a shot to put Miami up by 6, 79-73. But since that time, it's been all New York on a 10-3 run.
And with Miami missing 5 of their 7 free throws in this fourth quarter, they have only themselves to look at in the mirror here. Charlie Ward will be the inbounder. This is one of his really top skills, Charlie Ward. Able to find guys. Somebody's got to come to the ball, though. Play it safe if you're New York.
Neither team has a timeout. Ward to Childs, and that's it. For the 3rd straight season, New York has eliminated Miami in a deciding game. The final score today in Game 7, New York 83 and Miami 82. Let's go to Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. Chris, you basically took over that fourth quarter. Now you're getting beaten up for it by your teammates. Tell us about that fourth quarter and what ignited you.
It was just a matter of we were struggling offensively. They were taking away our key guys, Allen, Latrell, and Pat. And whenever we're stagnant on offense, it's a point guard responsibility, not just to score, but try to make things happen. And I had the shot. They were double teaming everybody else, so I had to knock them down.
Were you aware that you were the only guy who had scored until about 3 minutes left in the quarter for your team in the fourth?
I wasn't aware of it because I was under weather. I wasn't feeling too good, but this is what it's all about.
What's wrong?
Just a little case of the flu, but this is what it's all about. You got to leave it all out on the court. Game 7, what better way than play the game of basketball?
Chris, congratulations. Let's bring in Patrick. Patrick, your thoughts? I mean, every time you guys play the Miami Heat, it comes down to the last second and the last shot.
This is what the NBA is all about. You know, people can talk all they want about scoring and all that stuff, but the rivalry that we have between us and the Heat, the type of games that we play, I mean, we play hard. Both teams play hard. Both teams are to be commended. I mean, it feels good. You know, my teammates did a fantastic job. Chris Childs came in, played big for us. It feels good. I'm ready for the second round.
Alonzo Mourning, quite possibly your best friend. He played his heart out today, maybe his best game as a professional. Your thoughts on him and your feelings toward him now?
I thought Alonzo came out and tried to take it to me, early. I got a little winded. Jeff took me out. I was able to regroup. He played a fantastic game. You know, one of us had to win, one of us had to lose. I just wish him all the best.
How does a 37-year-old man recover? His coach wasn't even sure if he could duplicate his effort from Friday night. How did you manage to have the energy today?
Hey, this is what it's all about. This is what I worked for. I worked hard all summer long to come back from my Achilles. Started the season in shape. Hey, I feel good.
Now you have Indiana, which is as great a rivalry as this is. Indiana, what about the Pacers?
Indiana, I mean, they're a tough team. They have a lot of strengths, but right now I'm going to enjoy this win and try to think about Indiana come tomorrow.
All right, Patrick, congratulations.
Thank you. I know Mark Jackson's looking at this game, and he's waiting for me.
I'm sure he is. Mark, they're coming to Indiana. Tom?
All right, Jim. Patrick had to watch last season as the Knicks battled Indiana, and he'll be in action in the Eastern Conference Finals this season. Patrick with a tremendous performance, 20 points and 10 rebounds. The Knicks led by Latrell Sprewell with 24. But what about Chris Childs? The only Knick to score for 10 minutes in the second half. Had 13 straight points in that span and finished with 15. Miami gets a great performance from Alonzo Mourning in defeat 29 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 blocked shots. And wouldn't you know it, it came down to a one-point game with the issue still in doubt in the final seconds. And the New York Knicks prevail again. It'll be a time of looking in the mirror for the Miami Heat franchise. Will they be broken up now? We look ahead to the Eastern Conference Finals, the 6th meeting since 1993. Another great Eastern rivalry. This will be the 3rd time they've met in the Eastern Finals. In the regular series, they split home and home, 2 wins apiece. It was indeed a Game 7 full of fireworks, full of raw emotion, full of great competition. New York wins and eliminates Miami for the 3rd straight year. Join us next week for our 4 big conference final games beginning Friday night at 9. The Lakers and the Blazers, Memorial Day weekend here on NBC. Tonight at 7 p.m. 6 Central, Beverly Hills Ninja starring Chris Farley, followed by the world premiere movie Growing Up Brady. That's all coming up tonight here on NBC. So for Steve Jones, Bill Walton, and Jim Gray, Tom Hammond saying so long from Miami, this has been a presentation of the NBA on NBC.